joining me today. I'm on the Craftin Desert Divas channel and this is my first post as a design team member. I'm really excited to share this card with you today because I'm sharing one of the new stamp sets for July, which is Llama Party. Today I'm going to be doing some watercolouring and ink blending in this tutorial, so I hope you enjoy it. First of all, I'm taking a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock and I have treated that with my embossing buddy and inking up that stamp on my Misti tool with some Versafine Onyx black ink. I like to do 2 inkings just to give a really good impression, and then I'm going to be sprinkling on some clear embossing powder, and finally I shall be heat setting that, making sure it goes all nice and crisp and black. I can never get bored of seeing embossing powder melt. And then I am going to be doing a 1-layer card today, so I am creating a mask for the top portion of this stamp, and I haven't really got any masking paper or tape wide enough, so I'm just doubling that up. And I'm just putting a piece of scrap paper in my Misti, putting my stamp back into the Misti, and then I shall pop that masking paper down. Now you will see that I inked this up with Memento ink in black, or tuxedo black. Just a tip, I should have used Versafine Onyx black for this, because when I ink blend, that Memento ink will smear, so I have to be really careful. That was my mistake, so just a tip so you don't make the same mistake. I'm now taking my scissors and I'm fussy cutting out that mask, and this did take me a little bit of time, so I've sped this up for you, but you get the idea. And this is just post-it tape that I've stuck together just to make a little bit of a wider mask for myself. So once I fussy cut that all out, I then place that over my embossed llamas. And then I'm going to start ink blending my background. So first of all I start off with some spun sugar. I just tap off that blending tool onto a scrap piece of paper, just so they get some really soft colour onto that background. I'm being really careful not to smudge that ink on the masks, otherwise it will blend into my pink background, which I don't want. So I now take some wilted violet. Just try and get a really nice smooth transition into those colours. So once I'm happy with how it's looking, I then take my picked raspberry distress ink. I take some water on a paintbrush and dip it into that ink, and then just tap my paintbrush to create some sort of ink splatter, confetti look in the background. And then I do exactly the same thing with my wilted violet distress ink. Hopefully you can see that there's some nice pretty splatters in the background. And just finally I take my Perfect Pearls in Perfect Pearl, get a palette knife and just put a little bit onto that acetate. Mix some water with that on a paintbrush, and then exactly the same thing, just tap that paintbrush and get it down onto the paper. And now the magic is revealed, removing the masks, the best bit. And so now I'm starting to colour my llamas. They are so cute, I love them. I use quite a lot of zig markers for this card. I like using my zig markers when I want to colour things quite quickly. I have listed all of the shades I use down below, so take a look at that if you're interested in any of the colours. There is quite a lot of colouring, so I'm going to play some music while I finish off getting these llamas all coloured up. Once I have coloured all of the llamas in, I just take my white jelly roll pen and give the llamas some little dots on their cheeks, and I go in and apply some Spectrum Noir clear sparkle pen just on a few of the accents like the hats and the bows and the heart. And I also add some glossy accents to the monocle and the glasses on those llamas. And then now to add my sentiments once those glossy accents are dry, I like to use some acetate just to stamp out my sentiment before I actually stamp onto the card. But once I'm happy, once I've practiced that, I use my Versafine ink after embossing that card and stamp that down. I do that a couple of times, and I go ahead and sprinkle that with clear embossing powder and heat set. And so I repeat that process. I've kept my stamp in exactly the same place. I haven't removed it. I've just shifted my card to the left. I'm now stamping my sentiment again. And heat setting that. And this last time I have kept my stamp in exactly the same position in my Misti. I've just shifted my card to the right. And just to fill in those gaps a little bit, I've taken one of the stamps from one of the other new sets in the release, Fruity Friends. I've masked off part of that stamp and inking up just that little heart on that sentiment. And I'm just stamping that down in the middle of that No Problema. Again, just heat setting that with, once it's been coated with clear embossing powder. And again, I've just done exactly the same thing to this second heart. Just thought that finished it off really nicely. Finally, I'm just adding lots of double-sided adhesive to this back panel. It is a one-layer card, so this is the only panel that I've got to adhere. Putting lots of tape down just to make sure it's really secure. And I remove that release paper and secure it to a card base. This is a A2 size card base. So there's my finished card for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to take a look at all the other stamps in the release and make sure you tag us if you make any cards as well. I'll leave some links below for groups you can join, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.